miles away.
So hey guys, I apologize that the audio at the beginning was a little short. I was trying to find a clip of a song that was sung in this film I'm going to review for you today called Her. Obviously, a film I've been looking forward to for a while. I even made a video a while back. It was me doing a reaction video to the trailer just because I was so excited for it. I'm a huge Spike Jonze fan. Like I was saying right when the video started, I was trying to look for the song that they were singing in the movie, and the closest thing I could find to it was that brief audio clip you heard from the trailer. Pretty significant in the movie. It definitely that was definitely the point in the movie where this guy was really falling in love with his computer system. Um, so yeah, in this film, Her today, guys, I saw it. It just recently came to my hometown of Madison, and I've been looking forward to a while since I'm a huge Spike Jonze fan. Adaptations alone is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm a huge Where the Wild Things Are fan too. I'm not only a fan of Spike Jonze, I'm a huge fan of Maurice Sendak as well. So that film was a double whammy for me. And I've also loved Being John Malkovich. That was another very good Spike Jonze movie. And Spike Jonze, he's acted and produced in a lot of things too. He even recently acted in Wolf of Wall Street, which I also really enjoyed. Um, so in Her, you guys, basically it takes place a little into the future, not very far in though, where iPhones have this thing called an OS system built into them. And what they do is, let's say you wanted someone to have like more social interactions with, or you wanted to pursue a relationship, but not really actually pursue a human relationship. This system can basically do that for you. You can become friends with it. You can become you can choose a man's voice or a woman's voice. You can make it your boyfriend or your girlfriend, whatever one you want. And also in this future, there's also jobs in it that are in the future that they have that we don't have right now. So like for example, this Theodore Twombly, played by Joaquin Phoenix. He works at a place where he writes love letters for a living, and you can also go to him for like anniversary letters and anything that could be romantically related. Even like romance cards and things. You can go to him and he'll type it up for you and make sure it's really really good and really from the heart, and give it to who you really love in your life and things of that nature. And the thing with Theodore is, and this is kind of why he got this OS system, is he writes these letters and cards for a living, but yet he doesn't have anybody loving him back in return. And a big factor of this that I don't want to get into too much detail on because it might be a potential spoiler, like I said, it is spoiler free. Don't worry. He Theodore has a very hard time kind of committing to things. And I think that's why, in this movie, you'll see like very early on, he had a very troubled marriage before being with the OS system, played by Scarlett Johansson. And, he just has a very hard time keeping that commitment with people. And throughout the movie, it really plays out, even while he's dating this OS system on his computer and his iPhone. He can get her on the iPhone because it has a Wi-Fi capability, and that's how they're able to stay in touch. And that's why he's able to talk to her while out and about and things of that nature. Um, and so basically, the film kind of focuses on how he really has this hard time just keeping committed to people. And this computer, this Samantha, played by Scarlett Johansson, at least the voice of her, she really kind of points out to him some things that he does that might be the reason why he's been this lonely, and why a lot of people want to be with him and things of that nature. And what's kind of neat too is her feelings for him are kind of the same for other women that he's been with. Kind of their early reactions or their late reactions if they know him for a while and things of that nature. So basically, throughout the movie, we get to see the rise and fall of this guy who falls in love with this OS system on his computer and iPhone. And we kind of see how he benefits from that, and kind of how he learns some more about himself from that. And what's really neat about the movie too is, because this OS system doesn't know a lot about life, kind of like what Theodore does, throughout the movie, she's learning about kind of how life works, and kind of, asking questions that most people may not ask before, because she's really, really thinking abstractly and creatively. And, she's really making Theodore think on his feet a lot. And just a really interesting movie. And like I said, I really don't want to get into too much more detail because it might be some potential spoilers. So, um, for Her, you guys, for the positives, I really love the concept of this movie. I think just the idea of this guy, really learning more about himself, about, not only his relationship life, but just about his life in general. Through this computer, he's able to learn more about that, and he's really learning how a good relationship can go and how it will work and kind of where he currently is at through this computer system. So I just really love the concept that Spike Jonze has presented here. I love the art direction of this movie. It's just really terrific. A really magnificent view of the future and of the city and of the beach, and just really terrific landscapes that Spike Jonze chose for this movie. There's a video game Joaquin Phoenix plays throughout the movie that's really fun. The character that interacts with him in this virtual reality world is a really fun character to watch on screen. So I don't want to even go into much detail on him, simply because it might ruin the fun of you experiencing the movie for yourself. This film's brilliantly shot. It's just a very well made, very well edited, very good cinematography. Just a very brilliantly shot movie. You can definitely tell Spike Jonze knows how to make a movie. Some terrific acting in this. We got Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson is the voice of Samantha on the OS system. Amy Adams is in this. Rooney Mara's in this. Chris Pratt is in this, and I'll get to him in a second. He's a very interesting character, though. Um, yeah, just some really terrific acting in this movie, and Olivia Wilde has a small role in this too. Just really terrific acting. I really liked the look of the film's future. I really like how, there's jobs where, you can go to these people, they're really friendly, they can make these love letters and love cards for you. And even when you watch the film, like, just look at The Office. I mean, it's just such a friendly environment. And, they have like these illustration set up things on the wall, and just really, really interesting on how Spike Jonze kind of set everything up and kind of what he wanted this future to look like. There was even some scenes in it that kind of reminded me of like Clockwork Orange's future, where like they have all these really colorful bricks on the wall and things of that nature, and um, some very deep and moving conversations in this. The OS system, Samantha, played by Scarlett Johansson once again, and Joaquin Phoenix, they just have some really deep and moving conversations in this. There's even, I don't want to get into too much detail, but there's a scene with them lying on a bed, and Scarlett Johansson really asks Joaquin Phoenix some very deep questions and some very relationship pursuing kind of things, and just it's just really intriguing to see all these things that this computer really doesn't quite know about the world yet, and kind of how Joaquin Phoenix makes himself think about them, and kind of how she learns through Joaquin Phoenix's input on the subject matter and things of that nature. Arcade Fire, one of the bands of the musical score in this film, they really gave some great music for the movie. I have to assume that they did most of the musical score in this, and if they did a really terrific job. So really good music from Arcade Fire in this movie. Scarlett Johansson's voice work in this is very, very impressive. There's even been talk about her getting some Oscar buzz just for her voice work alone in this, and I can see why. It's a very tricky thing to do, and Scarlett Johansson nailed it. I mean, you really got the impression that there was somebody in this room with him, and all she could use was her voice. That's the only thing she could do for this character, and by just doing that alone, I know a lot of animations films already have done this, but just how the fact that she can only use her voice to really kind of bring this character out was very, very impressive, and I think it's very awesome, very much Oscar worthy, just because all she could use was her voice for the scenes that she acted in. So it's just really, that's a very impressive thing to bring to the table as an actress, I think. For the negatives of this film, and I really don't want to get into too much detail because some of these might be potential spoilers, but like I said, I'll try to be as spoiler free as I can. I think the starting 15 minutes of this film are a little too slow. I think the film, I understand they're trying to set things up, and they really want to. We really want to get to know what Joaquin Phoenix's life is like before the movie, really gets into action, and really gets into this OS system being in his life. But I really think the first 15 minutes of the film feel a little slow. They feel like it's almost taking its time too much, and I think that because this film has a very good sense of pacing after those 15 minutes are done, and as soon as the Samantha character is in the movie, I think that's when the film really starts to pick up. And until we meet Samantha, it's just a very, very slow moving movie until we get to that more interesting thing that happens in the movie. I thought Chris Pratt's role in this film was a little underexplored. This is me personally. I saw this movie with a friend, and he really wasn't bothered by it, but for some reason I was. I really liked Chris Pratt's character in this. He seemed like a really friendly coworker at work. Theodore made the point even early on in the film to Samantha that he did have friends. He just didn't know how to keep a relationship in good shape, and he didn't know how to maintain a good marriage and things. And um, this Chris Pratt character, he really that could have been a great opportunity to show that Theodore did have friends in his life. And there was even a scene where him and this Chris Pratt character go on this little trip together, and it's a very small scene, and you know what? I really would have liked to have seen Chris Pratt's character explored more in this because he seemed like a really interesting guy, and it would have been nice to see more of like Theodore's friendship life in the movie than just the 5 minutes we got to see with Chris Pratt in it. So he's not just in the beginning. You'll see later on. There's a small trip scene with him that he takes, but it's very very small. And like I said, it's a very underexplored role, I thought. There's a scene I really don't want to get into too much detail on, and I know I'm running late with this review, so. But it does involve a surrogate, and it was a very confusing and very poorly written scene. I thought it was just I didn't understand the rules behind the surrogate that Scarlett Johansson gets in one scene, and um, so yeah, a little confusing, a little bad. You'll know it when you see it, but it doesn't. If you know what a surrogate is, in that sense, if you know what I'm even talking about, but just a little confusing and a little bad. Just I didn't like how that scene was written. Let's just keep it at that. And also, for the most part, I didn't like how they wrapped things up with a Samantha character. I think that's the safest way I can put it for near the ending. Um, I just really didn't like how they wrapped things up with her. It just, I don't know, it just didn't seem to work with me. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit more clever, simply because this movie is so clever and it has such a brilliant concept going for it. I would have liked to have seen a more clever wrap up with that character, I thought so. But overall, guys, I do give her a 9 out of 10. I think it is a terrific film. I do think it is one of the best of the year. So I do expect to see this film on my top 10 list that is coming very, very soon after this video. Like I said, it's a very terrific movie. There's just a few little nitpicks I had on it, like you saw in my negatives, that might keep this from being like a 9.5 or even a 10 out of 10. So, like I said, a great film. I personally don't think it's Spike Jonze's best film, but he really did a terrific job with this movie, and I would highly recommend it. It's a very good movie.